Here's a great example of how incredibly elitist and out of touch many politicians in D.C. are. What is rich? Asks Congresswoman worth $75 million. Quote, is $1 million rich? Is $10 million rich? Is $1 billion rich? While trying to sell the GOP tax plan as a benefit for the middle class, Representative Diane Black, a Republican of Tennessee, argued on Monday that it's hard to tell whether millionaires are in the middle class or are considered rich. Fox Business host Trish Reagan pressed Black, who chairs the House Budget Committee, about whether the GOP tax plan would actually hurt wealthy taxpayers. She asked how socking it to the rich would help Republicans curry favor with the middle class. Quote, well, I don't know that you would call that socking it to the rich if there wasn't a decrease in the marginal rate, because there are other things that will help those who are at the higher income level, she said. I'm always careful about calling people rich because what is rich? Is $1 million rich? Is $10 million rich? Is $1 billion rich? So I want to be careful about that. But we really want to be sure that there are some pieces in there besides just the marginal rate, such as getting rid of the alternative minimum tax. There are some other pieces in there that do help those at upper income. Okay, so by the way, they go on here in the article and they say to answer Black's question, yes, you're rich if you have $1 million, $10 million, or $1 billion. A net worth, so not income, but a net worth of just $630,754 would put you among the wealthiest 20% of Americans, according to 2011 census data. And actually, so I happen to know a little bit more about, income and where that makes you land on the spectrum. If you make about $1 million a year, that qualifies for top 1%. So this woman is worth $75 million a year. Sweetheart, you are solidly in the top 1%. But but it shows you how out of touch they don't get it. They really don't get it. They really don't get it. They don't understand that half of workers in the U.S. make $30,000 a year or less. They don't get it. They do not get it. So when you have a situation where the top 0.1% has more wealth than the bottom 90%, to ask the question about, hey, what counts as rich and what doesn't count as what, it's a lot like the famous quote from the Supreme Court Justice, and I think they were talking about the issue of pornography in that case, where he says, you know it when you see it. You know it when you see it. Yeah, that's the same thing with this. What's rich? Is it $1 million? Is it $10 million? Is it $1 billion? You know it when you fucking see it. Your ass is rich. And yes, the Republicans are trying to cut taxes for the rich. I went over this before, but according to the CBO, Donald Trump's original tax proposal, it gives everybody who's poor about $40 more per year. Wow. Don't break the bank there, buddy. They might be able to go grocery shopping like half of one time. Everybody in the top 0.1% or 0.2%, they get $940,000 more per year. Well, are you really helping the rich by giving the 0.2% $940,000 more per year? What is rich? It's like Bill Clinton. It depends what the definition of is. We know it when we see it. We know it when we see it. Yes, if you're making $1 million a year, you're fucking rich. Of course you're fucking rich. You're literally in the top 1%. If you have $75 million and that's your net worth, yeah, you're goddamn rich. And, they bring up the alternative minimum tax here. This is another trick that the Republicans are trying to do. This is one of the taxes they want to eliminate. They want to eliminate the estate tax, which, by the way, only kicks in when people have estates. So, you have to have $5 million or more. You have to be in the top 0.2% of Americans. to have the estate tax affect you. The Republicans rebranded that, called it the death tax, because they're trying to lie and mislead you and act like if you're a family farmer, your $70,000 is going to go to the government instead of to your kids. Bullshit. Totally not true. That gets passed on to your kids. It only applies to people with estates. So they're trying to get rid of that tax. Another tax they're trying to get rid of is the alternative minimum tax. What's the alternative minimum tax? Well, that makes it so that our tax system is needlessly complicated, where there's all these different ways you can get deductions. And what happens is you have corporations and rich people, they hire lawyers whose sole purpose is to find the way to get the most number of deductions possible for those people. So when you have a team of fucking lawyers looking into how to make it so that you can legally use every loophole imaginable to pay as little tax as imaginable, guess what? Sometimes giant corporations pay nothing in taxes. Sometimes mega rich people pay nothing in taxes or pay 5% in taxes. So the alternative minimum tax says, hey, depending on if you're a corporation or an individual or whatever, the minimum tax you could pay is 20%. Or the minimum tax you could pay, I think, for rich individuals is 25%. So that's them saying, it doesn't matter how many fucking deductions you take, you can do deductions until you're getting a net subsidy from the government. We're going to make it so there's a minimum that you have to pay in taxes. You can only deduct to a certain point. If the top marginal rate's 39% or so, you can only deduct to 20%, and then we're not going to let you pay less than 20% in taxes. Well, guess what? The Republicans want to get rid of that and make it so that when rich people and corporations get that army of lawyers to find loopholes for them, at the end of the day, yes, the corporations and the rich people could walk away paying nothing in taxes or get a net subsidy, which is a welfare check for them. That's what the Republicans want. And the entire time they do that, they try to dupe you over by going out there and saying, well, are we helping the rich? I don't know. It depends. What is rich? I don't know if $1 million is rich. Is $1 million rich? I mean, I have $75 million. Does that count as rich? I think maybe rich kicks in at $1 billion. Spare me. You are robber barons. That's exactly what you are, and you're rigging the system for corporations and the rich, and you know it.